Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Married at First Sight Reunion Part 1. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. Like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. I'm so sorry I'm getting this video out late, y'all. I had every intention to get it out early. Life happens. Pray for me, child. I really want to continue doing YouTube, but it just discourages me when I can't stay on a schedule because of things outside of my control. And I really love doing YouTube. I really want to come back and be, consistent, but it's just hard. So, but shout out to the people who come and watch my videos anyway. I can't tell y'all how much I appreciate y'all so much. We're gonna go ahead and dive straight into it. I know why y'all are here. Y'all know why I'm here, okay? We're just gonna start. Justin obviously came into this reunion with a chip on his shoulder and a point to prove, okay? I believe by the time they film the reunion, they've seen some episodes, or maybe they've seen some people's reactions to the episodes, like Twitter, which Twitter, I ain't gonna lie, Twitter ate Justin up, especially like those first few episodes. Like I kind of felt bad for him because like the way they was talking about him was like really harsh. So I'm not, someone as emotional as Justin, I'm really not shocked that he came in guns blazing, right? And trying to prove his manhood, because it was like very much questioned. So what made everything pop off was Kevin asked very messy questions. At first they didn't bite. He was like, so who's having a problem with who in the group? And everybody was like, didn't really want to answer. But Kevin was like, you know what? I'm not new to this. I'm true to this, okay? I know how to get this mess out. I can squeeze some mess out of y'all if I really want to. So he was like, well, who unfollowed who? Nate pointed out that Justin follows and unfollows people all the time. Here go Nate, why you unfollow me? Why you unfollow me? And he told Nate basically that he's two-faced and fake. And he would act cool in his face, like on the show, but then in his confessionals, it would be something totally different. And you know what? We never actually saw Nate say any of the things that he said in his confessionals to Justin's face. In fact, not to the rest of the people there either. So I guess I would consider that a little two-faced, because you if anybody had a lot to say in confessionals, it was Nate and Alexis. Nate also told Justin that he's not the type of person to dip in people's relationships, but during the season he spoke on Binh and Morgan's relationship, and Morgan was over there in the amen corner. You showed it. Morgan, shut up. I don't consider that the same thing. Like, if you come to the group and we're in a group setting and we're discussing your relationship, I don't consider, people in the room interjecting as dipping in somebody's business. Justin, you was constantly on the phone with Binh in his business, and you even cried about Binh's marriage to your wife on y'all's honeymoon. You are way too invested, and it's not even comparable. Basically, Nate was like, look, I'm not a therapist. If you need that, you need to go pay somebody, okay? I'm focused on my wife. And Nate was like, you were just mad because I was not giving you the attention that you wanted. And you a crybaby. Yeah, you a crybaby. He was a little bit crunk. He really was. So I could totally see why Justin was getting in his feelings, or trying to defend himself, because Nate was coming off a little bit tough guyish. Both of them need to sit down, to me. Then that's when Justin dropped a bombshell that Nate made a pass at him 2 times, and everybody's face was like, oh, what? You know what I'm saying? And so that's when Kevin was like, hold on, stop the music. Why would you say that? What would make you say that this man made a pass at you? He was like, basically Nate complimented him on his skin 2 days in a row. And y'all, I was just like, Justin ain't used to being complimented. Or something, because what? Because he thought you had smooth skin, and he was like, oh, why you on a show like this? You got smooth skin. Now, if he would have said you was fine, or if he would have like got up on you and like caressed your face, you know what I'm saying? I need a little bit more than that. I could see Nate complimenting your skin, because when you look at Nate's skin, and this is no shade to people with, textured skin, you could see that his his skin isn't as smooth as Justin's. I'll put it like that. If I'm gonna be 100% honest, Justin does have great skin. That's one of his best attributes. It's smooth, it's buttery, it looks amazing, okay? So maybe he was just trying to be nice to you because he's one of those people that doesn't have smooth skin, so that's something he notices. And then when he said, well, I don't know why you're on this show, he could have been being sarcastic. Nate is one of those people that will butter you up and say stuff like that and low-key be clowning you. So Nate was like, okay, I'm comfortable in my manhood. I complimented your skin. Like, he didn't deny it, but he did say it was cap, that he was flirting. But he's not making himself look good by being so mad that Justin unfollowed him. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you getting so mad over an unfollow? Here go Justin with the toxic masculinity, trying to prove his manhood, child. Take that bass out your voice, boy. It didn't even come off natural. Like, it just felt so corny. It felt like a bully on the Disney Channel. The dialogue was so whack. It was so weak. He did not sound right saying that. And really, they both sounded like children on the playground going back and forth. Nothing about it was attractive. Like, if I was Alexis and Stacia sitting there, I would feel so embarrassed, like sitting in between these two men fighting like children. And it got so heated to the point where Justin stood up, took off his jacket. He wasn't gonna do nothing. If he wanted to get through Binh, of all people, he could have got through Binh. He could have got to him. I mean, honestly, Nate didn't even stand up. They say the people with the most bark be the ones that fall the hardest. You know, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So, but it wouldn't be like a hard fight. You don't get points for beating up Justin. But Justin, you need to sit down. You're a lover, not a fighter. Like, stop trying to come in with all this false bravado, because it's not you, and we could all tell it's not you. I would much rather you get on stage and cry, because we know that's your real personality, instead of you getting on here faking the funk. You're 30 years old. It's time to grow up. Period. You really need to work on your emotional maturity, because you are very delayed in that area. I don't know if you'll be able to participate in a healthy relationship until you get that under control. They take Justin out of there. Alexis is back there. She's secretly loving it, but she calms him down. Child, all of it was just so performative to me. And then when Justin came back and sat down, Nate goes pointing again. And it's like, you're not helping the rumors. When you keep poking at Justin, it's not making people not want to believe what he said, because it's like, why do you care about what Justin, of all people, has to say? Nobody was going to take what he said seriously, period. So you didn't even have to go there. So then they move on to, well, okay, why did you unfollow Kristen, for example? Well, she's two-faced. Well, why did you unfollow Lindy and Morgan? They stood him up for a hike, which, that was rude. Like, y'all are really trash for that. That's mean. Like, why would you plan something with him and not show up? He unfollowed Stacia, obviously, because the ops. At the end of the day, I don't necessarily think that Nate was making a pass at him. I think that Justin was saying that to try to embarrass him, because he felt a way that Nate was talking behind him back in confessionals. Just say that instead of trying to put him on blast for being down low. Like, I don't know. I felt like that was so whack on his part. So let's move on to Lindy and Miguel. This ain't gonna be long, y'all, because when I tell you they irritate my last nerve, it's not that I feel like they're being dishonest. I just feel like they really sugarcoat everything. And we saw how bad it got between y'all. And I just wish y'all would, I don't know, own it a little bit more. And more so, I'm talking about Lindy than Miguel, he really is way more apologetic for his behavior. Lindy almost thinks it's cute. Like, she knows it's not, so she'll say, I need to work on it. But I don't feel like she actually really wants to work on it. I think Lindy thinks she should be able to be toxic in her relationships. Period. They're still together, and it's just so easy. It's easy. They play Dungeons and Dragons weekly. That doesn't shock me. Lindy comes off as a little bit nerdy herself, so that doesn't shock me. Like I said, it was a lot of Miguel apologizing and compromising, and Lindy not so much, but just kind of like whipping him into shape, making toxicity look cute and fun and bubbly. When they started talking about the last name, he stands by what he said. He wanted her to take his last name. I'm surprised they didn't bring up the insurance. After he put her on his insurance, I'm gonna do this for you. You could at least do this for me. This is something I want from you, and you're getting something huge from me in return. And it's not like it's transactional. It's just like, that's the least you could do type of thing. And he was like, yeah, it's kind of ego and macho, but you know, this is America. That's like kind of like culture and tradition. It's not shocking that a man will want you to take his last name when y'all get married. That's not like a outdated concept by far. So, you know, she did end up taking his last name. She just hyphenated it. She said she just wanted to feel more secure before she did that, I guess. But you didn't have to feel more secure to get that insurance. I don't know. Their whole segment was just a bunch of fluff to me. So let's move on. Morgan and Binh. She's much more agreeable now. I feel like because of her little backlash, she came in a totally different Morgan. Or maybe she's just happy to be away from him. She's glad her plan worked of taking something this big and blowing it up and getting out of the relationship. Because I feel like that's what it was, y'all. I think she just didn't want to be with him after a while. That was her excuse. She's a nurse, y'all. She's a nurse. All caps. She's a nurse. Make sure, girl, you should have came in with a I'm a nurse t-shirt, came in with the stethoscope. Okay, you should have wore scrubs. You should have had your clipboard. You should have came in with the comfortable sneakers on. Like, as much as you want to make sure you like beat that horse that's been dead. Okay? We get it. We get it. You know, at the end of the day, he was wrong for running to Justin with false info. And I do feel like at the end of the day, she was justified with being upset with him. But I also feel like he genuinely apologized to you. And he told us that, you know, he got you flowers. And he kind of went out of his way to apologize for that. And yes, you know, maybe he shouldn't have went back and talked to Justin. But this is a situation where that you're going to talk to other people in proximity to you because they're going through the same things you're going through. And she said, well, maybe if it just wasn't Justin, maybe if he would have went to someone else, you know, she wouldn't have gotten upset. I don't believe that. I personally don't believe that. I think this was her way out. But it's crazy to me because now all of a sudden she understands that he was under a lot of stress. You were under a lot of stress. And you just need to, well, how come you're being so understanding now and you couldn't give him any sort of slack when y'all were in it? And it's not like Binh was ready. I'm not gonna act like Binh was ready, but let's not act like she tried. And I just hate that in every single scenario when we're talking to anyone, no one holds Morgan's feet to the fire. Nobody. Kevin didn't hold her feet to the fire. Like, you didn't give this man a chance, really. You didn't give him, you really did not, you did not try to work with him at all. And really, at one point, you even said out of your own mouth, you were going to try to make him suffer. So for no one to call her out for that, I don't know. I didn't understand it because she was really mean to him. She even said on the reunion stage, I wanted him to feel the pain that he made me go through. And I'm just like, that's very vindictive. Like, why is no one saying anything about, like, what? He would apologize and she would just punish him. And, you know, no, everybody thought that was okay. Obviously, Binh was going to apologize the entire time. Apparently, he called her and they had dinner after the show and he apologized again, child. And she finally felt like it was real. At one point, Kevin was trying to, like, push them back into a relationship even though it was completely toxic. I hate when people do that. Kevin, just stop. Like, don't you see that they don't even want to be with each other at this point? Their situation is so dead. I was so ready for their segment to be done. Let's move on to Mitch and Kristen. So basically, when they sat down with Kevin, he was so uncomfortable the entire time. Like, he just looked like he wanted to crawl out of his skin. He wanted to jump and just run for his life. Like, he was so uncomfortable with this conversation. I think he's another one that got a lot of backlash and he just wanted to be careful, really, really careful with his words. So, they brought up when he said he wasn't attracted to Kristen. We all felt a way about him doing that because it was like, there was no reason for you to have to, like, actually say that to her. You know what I'm saying? He said that he was having a drawn out panic attack and he was freaking out and he handled it all wrong. A part of me wants to believe that because he did get on the phone with his brother and was like freaking out, like, I'm not attracted to her, da, da, da. But you're just really self-centered. I only think Mitch thinks about how he feels in these situations. Like, and I think that's something if you ever want to be in a relationship, you need to work on, because your tone and how you say things is just like how you feel. But consider other people's feelings sometimes. And I think that's where a lot of us were coming from. Like, that was really mean. Like, what if she would have told you, well, you know, I'm not attracted to men with bald heads and beards. Okay? Like, she could have easily said she wasn't attracted to you. It's not like you a 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure, like, she wasn't picturing you before she walked down that aisle, but she gave you a chance. Like, I don't know. He did handle it all wrong. But Kristen does not believe to this day that he wasn't physically attracted, because, you know, right after that, he tried to pounce on her. And, yeah, I don't think he was never, like, not physically attracted. Maybe it was the makeup or whatever, but who cares? Who cares at this point? It was just the principle of the whole thing. So then they brought up an unaired scene where he assumed she didn't have any hobbies, and it turns out that he just never paid attention to anything she did. She liked to cook, she liked to go to the beach, she liked to do a lot of different things. And she pointed that out to him. He was like, oh yeah, I guess you do have hobbies. It just goes to show that he never actually tried to get to know Kristen, to me. Like, every time they would have any sort of conversation about, you know, her and, you know, where she came from and her personality, and just getting into Kristen, it was always prompted by like an activity, or maybe she asked him first and he bounced back the question. He never was actually intrigued with who Kristen was as a person. Then here go Kevin with the messy question: do you still have feelings for her? Why are y'all trying to force him to like Kristen? Like, why are y'all trying to force something there that is not? Like, y'all, it's almost like y'all want him to get lit up. Like, y'all want someone to go off on him. This is the only part where I'll defend Mitch. He's been very clear since decision day that he doesn't want to continue in this relationship, and he just wants to make, you know, put his foot down firmly and say it. So stop trying to make him go back on it. She claims that even on decision day, if he would have said yes, she still would have said no. I don't believe Kristen. I think she would run back to him in a heartbeat if that's what he wanted. I could be wrong. Maybe at this point she really has let him go, but based off what I saw in that last episode, I don't believe her at all. She said she was gonna leave the door cracked. I feel like when he said he did not want her to leave the door cracked, that's when her face got cracked, okay? So anyway, just let him go. She even got hyped with him at one point during this segment, like, you didn't have feelings for me at the retreat. It's like, girl, you still upset about that? Like, let it go. I know that's what the reunion is for, to rehash old feelings, but I just want her to stop giving Mitch all of that, because he ain't giving her nothing. He always gave her 0, and I just wish she would give him that and be indifferent towards him, because the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference, and you're making it seem like you're bitter. I hate to say that. So let's move on to Stacia and Nate. Stacia was gorgeous, by the way. I would, if I had to give anybody best dress, it was her. The hair, the makeup, the dress, all of it, bomb. Okay, so let me give Stacia her flowers before I get into this segment, because sometimes I feel like I go hard on Stacia, but I feel like Stacia is so quick to point out Nate's faults, but she can't see her own. Like, she can't see it, and she claims she's in therapy and everything, but I feel like, you know, you like to point out his mommy issues, but you have serious daddy issues, and I feel like even mommy issues. I feel like you just have abandonment issues in general, because your dad wasn't there and you got emancipated from your mom at some point, and you kind of felt like your mom chose her husband over you. So I feel like there are some things that you could honestly work through as well, that you possibly don't even realize or recognize. Clearly they're still together. They say that they've been staying at both of their places. He's been staying at his apartment because his lease is not up until 8 months, and then they've been spending some time at her place. And you know, he's just uncomfortable with moving into her place altogether, and I don't blame him, because I feel like, you know, she's the type, as soon as they have a major fight, she'll like want to kick him out and he'll be homeless. So I don't blame him for being cautious. Let's see how these next 8 months go first. Like, I don't blame him. So, you know, obviously they bring up the fact that they're freaks. I feel like people who are like PDA type of couples, y'all just like attention. Like, y'all have that voyeuristic thing. Y'all like for people to watch y'all, and like everybody's not always consenting to that. I know I didn't with all those scenes. I had to fast forward, y'all. I don't want to see that. Like, I don't tune in to Married at First Sight to see y'all all up on the wall on a swing. I don't need to see that. A lot of times those couples that like to force PDA on everybody, that's literally all they have like in common. Like, I don't know. It's like they want to flaunt that, but behind closed doors, y'all have all these issues. Stacia still is forcing this man and trying to nag this man into opening up, and she says she knows she, you know, wants to be a safe space for him. And I'm not gonna lie, Nate, he is somebody that is withholding, and he clearly has his guard up. He's not perfect, so I'm not trying to make it seem like Nate is just, you know, if it wasn't for Stacia, they would be perfect. No, he has his issues as well, but her behavior would make anybody want to shut down. That would make me want to shut down too. Like, if someone was constantly trying to, you know, force me to express myself all the time, like, let it happen naturally. And she doesn't hide the fact that she does it. She's kind of similar to Lindy in that aspect. Like, she does some toxic things, but she thinks it's cute. She thinks, she doesn't see anything wrong with it. They started talking about how controlling she is. And, you know, even when they were talking to Kevin, like, she was answering all the questions. Like, he would kind of have to fight. Lord, one of my lights went out, y'all. I'm sorry. He would kind of have to fight to, like, be able to answer questions as well. He says that she wants him to step up and, you know, do things around the house, I guess. And when he tried to cook one time, she came in and took over and then was mad. It's like, girl, like, you have to let go. You cannot control this man's every move. So Kevin did ask, you know, have you said I love you yet? Nate went ahead and broke down and professed his love for Stacia. He says that he's been saying it pretty much every day, and it just grows and grows every day. And I believe him. I do believe that Nate loves Stacia. I think that Stacia loves Nate. I just think that he wanted it to happen natural. He didn't want to be forced to say it, because that's not romantic at all, like, to make someone say I love you. Then he brought up the fact that he feels like she doesn't give him credit for anything, or basically she downplays the effort that he tries to put into their relationship. They brought up the fact that they went snorkeling or something like that. They did some activities on vacation or something. And she said those are activities that he wanted them to do. And, you know, she still smiled and she participated because that's something that she wanted. She wanted to spend time with him, but that's not necessarily something she wanted to do. And basically Nate is like, she's like a moving target. I just don't know how to please her. It just comes off like it'll never be enough. And, you know, to that I say, well, definitely see where he's coming from, but maybe you should do some things that she likes to do as well. You know what I'm saying? It's always great to, you know, introduce your partners to the things that you love to do too, but if she's not enjoying it, it's kind of like, you might as well, you know, you might as well not have done it. But I also see where he's coming from as well, because, like, what more do you want from me? I'm trying. She even admits that, you know, she expects a lot. And once again, I think she thinks it's cute to be difficult. She really thinks that is like something cute for her to do in relationships. And that's going to wear him down emotionally. Like, how's he going to want to open up to you and you're constantly beating him down? And then they get to the point where they talk about children. She's upset because, you know, she wants to have a child in a year. And he feels like he wants them to, you know, get to know each other better on an emotional level first. And his answers are always more logical than hers to me, because yes, like, why are you trying to have a child with him so soon, and y'all are having these problems? I'm not saying the problems are nothing y'all can't work through, because I honestly think that Stacia and Nate can make it. As much as I've you know, said this entire time, I really do think they can make it. I just feel like Stacia has to be a little bit more honest with herself and make some changes on her part, so that Nate can not feel like he's on defense all the time, and so he can, you know, open up a little bit more. Because, you know, you're gonna throw a wall up if, you know, you feel like you're constantly on defense mode. That's all I have to say about them. I low-key want them to work, and I hope that they do, but something tells me it's gonna get old between now. I hate to say that. Finally, let's talk about Alexis and Justin. So they brought up the fact that he said I love you very soon, like on the first or second day of the honeymoon. And he said, yeah, he jumped the gun when he said I love you. He said that he was viewing it as like, I'm making a decision to love you. I feel like that's a little bit of revisionist history, Justin. I think you really thought you loved her. But okay, I'll let you have that. She says she meant it and she doesn't regret it. I feel like a lot of times when he says stuff, she tries to like give these passive aggressive digs like, well, I meant what I said type of thing. It's like, girl, please, you did not love him either. You didn't. You didn't. You didn't. You didn't. You didn't. You didn't. You didn't care about him the whole time. You played him. So stop acting like you actually cared about him at some point, because you didn't. And we all can see that. Then Kevin brought up the fact that they consummated their marriage on the honeymoon. She said they tried to. I wish he would have just left it at that. But no, he had to give us the dirty details, child. They did, you know, like literally gave the dirty like we did not need to know the specifics of what actually happened. Look, I actually believe Alexis this time, okay? Whatever you got from that situation, I feel like she did whatever she had to do in that moment to help it to pass. Let me just say that, okay? I wish he would have let that go, because clearly y'all are not on the same page with the bedroom. And Justin, I just, like, some people online think Justin was a virgin. I honestly, I believe that. Or his experience was very limited. Because the way you talked about it in the beginning, like women only want you for one thing, and it was never convincing. Then he called her out for being two-faced in the confessionals, and she was very nasty to him in those confessionals. They played one, but I feel like they could have played a bunch, okay? And she's like talked about him behind his back multiple times. She's always like emasculated him. And I think that's something we all can agree on. And then he tried to act like it was his choice that they're not together. Justin, nobody believes that, because I believe it happened on camera. We saw it. Like, stop trying to change history just because you got embarrassed. Like, this is the reason why nobody can fully have your back, because you are overly emotional and you're trying to come in here and act like the situation went differently. No. If she played you, she played you. Just be real about it. Just be honest. And if you say that, we can have your back. We could be like, you know, if you just come on here, and even if you want to cry about it, like, I really invested myself in this and I really thought she cared about me and loved me, and she didn't. We will have your back, Justin, but you trying to come in here and play hard. Like, you're not hard at all. But Alexis is someone else that needs to be honest. You never wanted him. We know this. You never wanted him. You know, just be honest about that. You don't mind saying anything else on camera and embarrassing him. You might as well just be honest about that. He claims that she called him and tried to hook up with him after everything was said and done. I don't know. I don't know. With Justin, he loves to over exaggerate as well. He always think everybody want him for some reason. Y'all let me know how y'all feel down below. Do y'all agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I would love to hear your opinion. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.